first up, let's get the super greens going. We're going to start with 2 onions. We want to bring out that lovely sweet flavour.
Peel, halve and finely slice. Then into the pan with a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil on a medium heat. And 4 cloves of finely sliced garlic and season.
So just stir up the onions and garlic, start beginning sweetening process. And this is going to be the most amazing base for cooking this. Now, I want 900 grams of lovely greens. And greens is a really open kind of book. It's whatever you can get your hands on. So we've got the Swiss chard here, fantastic. We've also got curly kale, one of the oldest greens in Britain. We've got cavolo, the black cabbage of Italy. And also, we got stinger nettles. Can you believe it? All these things are greens, right? Have a mixture. They've all got different nutritional profiles. Embrace it, go with it. And all the areas that I've travelled to around the world where people live the longest, they've always bigged up greens and wild greens. And don't feel that you can't use things like frozen spinach. It's still full of the good stuff. So I'm going to do 450 grams of frozen spinach and then 450 grams of all this lovely fresh greens, and you can mix this up and reflect what's around you and what you can get hold of. So looking in the pan now, look at these onions. They kind of look like football stadium hot dog onions, right? And that's what we're trying to do. We want that lovely sweetness. And most greens have a slight edge of bitterness, which is a flavour that has been forgotten by modern day cooking, which is all about the sweet, sweet, sweet. And that little bitterness, if used with sweetness, creates bigger, more interesting, longer flavours, okay? So respect and love the bitterness, but you've got to work with it to make it sing.
Get this chorus going with frozen spinach, then washed fresh greens. Tear them up and get them in.
Even though we're cooking these greens down, many of the nutrients and vitamins are still retained.
Give the greens a good grating of nutmeg, packed with warm, spicy aroma and flavour. After 15 minutes stirring every now and again, they'll turn a beautiful dark colour. Bang them into a food processor with the zest and juice of half a lemon.
Okay, so that's hot and steamy. I'm just going to leave that there for a second. I'm going to put on a quick batch of tomato sauce in this dirty pan, so I don't want to do another set of washing up. So on we go.
In with another tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, 2 finely sliced cloves of garlic, a fresh red chilli, and the stalks of the 30-gram bunch of basil, saving the rest for later.
So it's the simplest little tomato sauce. Salt, pepper, and then in with the tomatoes.
Plum ones, 3 tins, and a tin and a half of water, rinsing out all the juices from the tins. Boil and simmer for 10 minutes. This is what our pasta's going to sit on.
So in all the supermarkets, you can buy cannelloni in a box, ready and raring to go. So we've got 250 grams, but we do have the challenge of getting the green stuff into here without breaking them.
I've got a brilliant kitchen hack for that. If you haven't got piping bags, I'm loading up a sandwich bag. Snip off the corner and you're in business.
So tomato sauce is pretty much there now. Let's just break up the tomatoes. I want it quite wet because it's gonna kind of cook into the pasta. So last stage is the white sauce. White sauce is an area where you can often ramp up the calories massively, and I want to show you a really good way of getting the flavour in there. I'm using the food processor again, and I'm not going to clean it out again. We've got bits of spinach in there, but we're going to add to the greenery. We're going to add the basil. We're going to go in with some ricotta cheese, which is a fantastic cheese. It's one of the lower fat cheeses, and it's very, very nice. So in with 250 grams of the ricotta cheese. And interestingly, it's quite light and crumbly and grainy now, but when you liquidize it, when you process it, it goes really shiny and gorgeous.
To get that gorgeousness going, pour in 200 millilitres of skim milk, 30 grams of parmesan and 1 free-range egg. Season and blitz smooth.
So have a look at this, guys. Oh, look at that colour, that beautiful pastel green colour. And then what we're going to do is have that on the very top. And having that egg in there is just going to let it sort of just firm up and give you that lovely texture on the top when you go to make it. So, come on, let's put it together now.
This lot will feed 6. So get yourself a big tray and pour in that tantalising tomato sauce. Line up the super green filled cannellonis and smother them with that sublime ricotta and basil sauce. And just a little bit of Parmesan cheese on top.
Okay, so let's whack this in the oven now for about 40 minutes. I'm going to put it at the bottom of the oven so you get the heat going up from the tomato sauce through the cannelloni. We're going to cook that for about 40 minutes at 180 degrees Celsius, 350 Fahrenheit, and that is going to be delicious. So after 40 minutes, it's going to look a little bit like this. Bubbly, golden, delicious. That lovely, creamy basil top just goes really, really nice and crispy. And that's what you want in a cannelloni, when it just sort of cooks into itself. Okay, let's get in there. And remember, this serves 6 people. Loads of food there. Get in, round the edge, crispy bits. My kids go mad for the crispy bits. So then just load those lovely plates up with a nice little mixed salad. The lovely thing about a cannelloni or a lasagna is it's not pretending to be anything flashy, it's just proper good comfort food.
And the beauty of this gorgeous cannelloni is that you can even have some lovely crusty seeded bread to mop up the juices. Now that's what I call a winner. With only 383 calories and 3 of your 5 a day, it's made to make your family's mouth water.
That is delicious, and those greens are amazing. My lot love it. Give it a go. You won't regret it.
You might not consider risotto as a superfood, but my sausage, squash and chicory risotto rewrites the rulebook. Plus, at only 600 calories, with 2 of your 5 a day, this is a surefire family favourite.
So let's start off with the first ingredient. We're going to use some sausages. I've got 4 chipolatas.
Health experts recommend that we don't eat more than 70 grams of processed meats per day, but we're using less than that. Fry your chipolatas in a little extra virgin olive oil, chuck in a teaspoon of fennel seeds, which are traditionally used to help digestion, and a nice sprinkle of dried chili flakes.
Then I'm going to go for about half of one of these. And I'm just going to dice it up, roughly around that sort of size. And as you're cutting them, throw them in to the sausage.
Squash is a source of vitamin C, and keeping the skin on ramps up the fibre. Next, it's in with 2 diced white onions.
Then let's use some dried oregano, more flavonoids going in. Any excuse for flavour and the good stuff.
Gently fry together for 15 to 20 minutes with a lid on, until they start to just colour nicely.
And look at that. Caramelisation, intensity of flavour. This is going to be amazing.
Time for the wine. I'm using a glass of Chianti.
In we go. So we'll stir that in. And red wine risotto is not that common, but it's amazing, so I need you to know about it. Now, of course, we're still able to benefit from the flavonoids in the grape juice because they're fairly heat resistant.
And if you're cooking for kids, just leave the wine out. In with the arborio risotto rice. 300 grams will easily feed 4. Next, add your stock, 1 ladle at a time. The better the quality, the better it's going to taste.
We'll probably add about 1.5 litres of stock. Chicken stock, veg stock, whatever stock you've got, it will still be delicious. So I'm turning the heat down now so it's a nice, steady simmer. Okay? If it boils too hard, you evaporate too much stock, and you kind of rush the outer side of the risotto rice, and the inner part is a little bit nutty, a little bit too firm. Let's have a little taste. Oh, we're getting there. Immense, immense flavour.
The risotto's been bubbling along for about 15 minutes, so time for the final ingredients.
Now I'm using chicory here for a couple of reasons. This recipe, I'd normally use radicchio, but it seems to be getting harder and harder to get hold of it in the supermarkets. But the red chicory, no, you can get it in the supermarkets. Look it out. And also, this is an amazing prebiotic. What does that mean? It makes your gut really happy, really happy. So we're going to use that with gusto. 2 or 3. Chicory, like radicchio, is classically a tiny bit bitter. But the bitterness here, with the sweetness of the squash, is gonna be amazing.
Next, something that will promote risotto to the superfood division without losing the indulgence: cottage cheese.
I never used to like cottage cheese, but to be honest, I didn't really understand it. It's a naturally low-fat cheese, but you've got the curds here that have the most beautiful mozzarella-like texture. But around it is this kind of milky texture, and that is gonna give this risotto amazing silkiness, and this is gonna eat really, really well.
First, in with the chicory, then the cottage cheese.
Delicious. Please, please try this dish, okay? Because it's nuts good. This is an off-the-chart risotto.
A couple more minutes and it's good to go.
That's what we want. We want that sensation, right? Where it's just kind of lipping like that. All right, so maybe don't do that.
Yeah, maybe use a spoon. Whack a lid on and leave your risotto to relax for a minute before doling it out into warm bowls.
This, my friends, is a gorgeous, oozy risotto. You don't want it thick or after. Something that's really silky and beautiful. I'm just gonna finish that with a nice, long grating of Parmesan and a little pinch of fresh thyme. And that is a thing of beauty.
Creamy risotto with sausage, squash and chicory. A surefire crowd pleaser at just 600 calories with 2 of your 5 fruit and veg a day.
Delicious, deep flavour. And you know, for me, the spirit of superfood as a concept is about, you know, balance, getting the veg in there, lowering the meat, upping the quality. And the missus, she loves this a lot. But please, please give it a go. Amazing. So, first up, I've got some lovely minced, high-quality lamb. This is lean lamb, okay, so it's not super fatty, and we're gonna go dry in the pan. Now, what we're gonna start doing is breaking that up, rendering the fat out, and we want caramelization. We want to brown that meat off. That's where you're going to get extra flavour.
Season your lamb with 2 generous pinches of black pepper and a little salt. Next, a herb that's lamb's best mate, rosemary. Finely chop yourself 2 sprigs.
Having that flavour is not only delicious, but it helps you to reduce the amount of salt that you need because you've got big flavour already. In we go.
Finely chop 2 onions and add them to the mince. Now for the hero ingredient.
Beans in an old school shepherd's pie. I don't really remember seeing them in there, but that doesn't matter, okay? Because what's nice is actually in many examples, whether it's a little beef burger patty, a meatloaf, you can actually reduce meat and then bulk out with beans. It's a brilliant thing to do.
Adding a tin of drained cannellini beans will ramp up the fibre content, as well as adding extra nutrients like iron.
And you can hear it's still frying, right? It's exciting, really exciting.
Next, boost that classic ragu flavour, plus your 5-a-day quota with diced carrots and celery sticks. 2 of each.
Big up the veg, really, really colourful. I've got 250 grams of mushrooms here. They give a real savoury depth to this lovely shepherd's pie. And by the way, if you were a vegetarian or a vegan, you could just pull that mincemeat out and put some more mushrooms in, and you would still get something that was really, really delicious and comforting. So, mushrooms in. So look, we've had 10 minutes of high heat, stirring, adding the veggies. You can see it's kind of sunk down. Absolutely gorgeous.
Go in with a heaped tablespoon of plain flour for thickening and 800 millilitres of chicken or veg stock. Once it comes to the boil, whack a lid on and leave it to simmer for half an hour, leaving you free to crack on with the mashed topping.
So, love potatoes. They're really, really great. They're a starchy carb, so they don't count as one of your veg, but they are delicious and they give you texture.
Quarter 800 grams of potatoes, and I've got a nice tip to show you how to get even more veggies into this dish.
I've got a nice Swede here. I love cutting mashed potatoes by 50-50 veg. Add some of this in, and it's really, really delicious. So I'm going to put the swede in first.
Boil the swede for 10 to 15 minutes before throwing in the potatoes to cook for the same length of time again.
Look at this ragu. I'm going to turn it off now, and I have a little trick of how to get it even better. It involves mint sauce. My wife loves a bit of mint sauce. A couple of little teaspoons, maybe 2 or 3. Lamb, mint, lovely, but also there's vinegar in there. So that little bit of a twang. Then a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Notice it goes in at the end so it doesn't get cooked away. So this now is next level, I promise you. Oh, ready and raring to go.
Pour your ragu into a serving dish and then mash up those gorgeous drained swede and potatoes.
Classically, with this, there'd be a whole load of butter going in. Delicious, but that's not going to be a superfood day. So, then we use milk.
Just 2 tablespoons of semi-skinned will do the trick. Then grate in 15 grams of good quality cheddar.
So, you know, it's just clever ways of getting flavour up. Of course, butter is fantastic, but actually by gram, cheddar cheese is lower in fat and you get way more flavour, so you get better bang for your buck.
Season your mash and you're ready to start topping your shepherd's pie.
I don't want to have a sinking potato top. So what I do is I get 350 grams of frozen peas and I just put them on the top. They're going to be like a little layer that keeps your potatoey topping on top. Frozen peas are brilliant. They're already part cooked and then snap frozen, and a lot of that nutrition is kept in there. So really, really cool. And my family absolutely love them.
Pop your delicious mashed potato and swede onto that layer of peas and using a fork, score the top so it will catch and go super crispy. Bake your pie at 180 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 50 minutes until golden and bubbling.
About 5 minutes before the end, I just put a few bits of rosemary in a little olive oil on top because it smells and looks delicious, and that's it. That is going to be the most fantastic shepherd's pie. You're going to love it. And there she is, blipping away, absolutely gorgeous. Crispy top, you've got all that lovely gravy coming through. Really, really beautiful. So let's serve it up.
My superfood shepherd's pie, boosted with beans, will serve 6 hungry people happily, because as you can see, these portions are generous.
Let's have a little go. So good. The flavours are deep. The gravy is indulgent. The potato and sweet topping is crispy and delicious. That, my friends, is clever cooking and food that is really good for your body. Happy days.
So there you go, the ultimate superfood shepherd's pie, packing in a massive 4 out of your 5 fruit and veg a day, and all for just 436 calories a portion. That's going to be a total family favourite.